Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 159 of the world's longest tenured Denver Nuggets spin-off podcast. Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets' Serbian Corner. My name is Miroslav, and before we begin, please take a moment to like the video on YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the DNVR Sports YouTube channel and the DNVR Nuggets podcast channel. The audio version is ideal for your commute or to make your office or home office time more bearable. If you want to support the show more directly, you can become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/MiroslavCuk, just like my Seco tier supporters Peter Plummer, Daniel Lynch, and Brian Johnson. Patreon supporters can enjoy the ad-free audio version of this show, and they can also submit ideas for guests and topics for the show and appear on the show during the summer. The week behind us started with devastating news for the Houston Rockets fans. Their only true point guard and one of their best players, Fred VanVleet, got his ACL torn in an unofficial team workout in the Bahamas. After Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton, who will miss the upcoming season, this is the first major injury to happen to the Western Conference contender. It is an ugly reminder of how fragile everyone's title odds are and how significant every season is when your team has a real shot at winning it all. The Nuggets already had 2 seasons without their second best player at the end of them, so every season we get to have all of our guys relatively healthy can't be taken for granted and has to be optimized. If that means trading for another guy despite going into the luxury tax and not resetting the repeater counter, your ownership better do it, or else expect to be ridiculed and called out repeatedly. The West now has one clear favorite in OKC Thunder and one clear underdog who is ready to show they still have what it takes in the Denver Nuggets. If there's a third team ready to really contest for the getting out of West, I don't see it at this present moment. This is a Nuggets show, but please let me vent for 45 seconds about something that interests me as a Serbian basketball fan. Mika Murinen, aka the Slim Jesus, one of the main reasons why Team Serbia didn't medal in this year's Eurobasket, the biggest Finnish basketball prospect since Lauri Markkanen, signed a 3-year deal with my favorite childhood team, Partizan Belgrade. I won't be beating around the bush. I hate Mika. Not for his basketball skill, he is a very intriguing basketball talent. It is for his on-court antics. And he will get the chance to play against many 35-year-old lumberjacks, both in the Adriatic League and the EuroLeague. And those fellas will not look with understanding at him, smelling his own fingers after draining a 3 or after dunking on them while being 100 pounds lighter than them. This might be a good thing for Mika if he survives the season with good bill of health after all those mentioned encounters. Just a short list of my predictions regarding this signing. It will be good for Partizan to snatch one of Europe's biggest talents ahead of richer European clubs. It will be great for Mika to develop under the greatest basketball coach ever, Željko Obradović, greatest basketball coach ever, according to me. It will be even better for Finnish basketball, which will get a second superstar next to Lauri soon. I will be devastated. It will be devastated for me if Mika destroys Team Serbia again, and I will have that in the back of my mind always. Okay, that was a very specific rant from me. Let me bring in some reinforcements. The first person shares the first and the last name with the Kansas City Royals relief pitcher. The first person is also a lawyer in the state of Illinois. The first person is the author of the 2023 unofficial Nuggets championship anthem. It's Dan Lynch. Welcome back to the show, Dan.
Glad to be here as always, Miroslav.
So do you know...
I'd only slightly rather be on than just listening.
So tell me, did you know that there's another Daniel Lynch playing in the MLB league?
I was aware of that, yes. It was brought to my attention probably the day after he came up.
So is it Kansas City Royals your team or the Rockies? Do you have any kind of favorite there?
Well, if I was going to pick the team that Daniel Lynch played on as my favorite, I think this is like his 6th different team. So I've
Oh.
been around a lot. No, I'm a Chicago White Sox fan.
He's been around the block. Yeah. Chicago White Sox. That sounds like a good team. Even though I haven't been to their ballpark, I was really impressed by the course field in Denver, though. Okay, the second person is the son of two. The second person is the brother of two. The second person is a Serbian corner Patreon from Denver, Colorado. It's Jeff Scanlan. Welcome back to the show, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, Miro. I do have a feeling that once Mika is playing for your team, that's the kind of guy that you're really going to grow fond of. Like, he's the type of person that would annoy every other team, but one thing is on yours, that's the type of person you want to have.
I just feel like such an old man for being so mad at those young people antics he performs on the court. I'm just so annoyed by it. But I guess you're right. Like if Partizan gets a big win thanks to one of his great shots, it might be a game changer for me. So we will see. I mean, if D-Line was able to like Russell Westbrook last year, like I guess I can try to do this as well. Okay, the third person is the only person dialing in to this show from Nebraska. The third person is a professor who considers himself a student too. The third person is a movie buff and a proficient ball knower. It's Kyle Simonsen. Welcome back, Kyle.
Hey, Miro. Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
So, Kyle, you already announced a very fun and exciting day for you today. Do you want to elaborate on that? What's coming up for you tonight?
Yeah, just making the most of a Saturday, especially here in Nebraska. It's the bye week. You got to make the most of the bye week when there's no football going on. So I went to the apple orchard, picked some apples. It was great. I got an apple pie in my future, and then get to hang out and talk hoops with you guys, and then make a trip to the theater tonight to see the new Paul Thomas Anderson flick. So that's a pretty good Saturday.
That is a pretty good Saturday, and I'm actually envious because it's too late for me to go to the movies now. It's already 10 p.m. over here, but maybe I can catch it.
You saw our friend Gordon Gross, former Serbian corner attendee, went to a very late showing last night, and it's not a short movie. It's almost 3 hours long. So I too would not try a 10 p.m. movie. I would not make it. So anyway, but glad I'm getting to go a little earlier than that. Anyway,
to be completely frank, since I turned 40, it's easier for me to watch those 3-hour movies at home in 3 portions. It's easier for me to endure them, but you know what? Sometimes when you get a really, really great movie to watch, it's worth the hustle and like some energy drinks and stuff like that to be able to endure it. Okay, guys. So it's not easy to plan these September shows. During the week, you hope something happens to inspire some off-season contemplating, and this time, unfortunately, it was Fred VanVleet's injury that reminded me how quickly your sports dreams can evaporate and dissolve into a multitude of what-ifs. This is why I wanted to ask you guys about how you evaluate the Jokic era so far. Does one championship and one extra Western Conference Finals appearance in 10 seasons, are they enough for a passing grade for the ownership group, for the coaching, for the front offices, the teammates, and Jokic himself? I want to start with somebody who is used to grading stuff all the time. Kyle, what do you say about this? Let's start from the top. If we talk about the Cronkies, the KSC ownership group, do you think they realized early enough that they should, invest heavily in this team? And after they figured it out, did they do a good job of maintaining the team, money-wise?
Grading is my least favorite part of teaching, right? It's the worst part. This is like a nightmare. You're pulling me back into it. No, I think I think the Cronkies have always been very intentional and deliberate with how they run their organizations. And that's not just the Nuggets. That's the other teams that they operate as well. And I think that is both to the good and to the bad, right? There are times that approach pays off really well. And there are times that approach is especially frustrating as a fan. So, if you want to make the criticism that you're implying there, Miro, that maybe we could have got this thing rolling a little bit earlier if we would recognize what a generational talent that Jokic was. No, I think that's a fair criticism to make. And, you talked about the injury. I think that's one of the things that makes grading the team building so difficult, is because we were just derailed by injury so much. No fans should be able to empathize with Rockets fans more than Nuggets fans. We know exactly what this is like to lose our starting point guard for an entire season of our championship contention window. I'm not sure we're so inclined to empathize with Rockets fans. Maybe we're not happy to see Fred VanVleet get injured, of course, but maybe also feeling a tiny little bit of relief that that's one other team that we don't got to tackle. So, I don't know. I think I'd be in the B range if I have to stick a letter on it for the Cronkies. Maybe a B- to, placate that annoyed fan in me. But ultimately, they put together a team that earned a championship. I don't know what more you can ask for your ownership group than to bring you a championship. Lord knows I've been a fan of a lot of teams that have had a lot less success than the Denver Nuggets have had in the past decade. So,
Dan, I wanted to just a quick recap of what the Cronkies did. Before these last couple of seasons, they traded away first-round picks to get out of contracts from like Manimal and Wilson Chandler, and then they gave up one first-round pick to get off Yusuf Nurkic's contract. They did a lot of cost cutting in the past, even this summer, which we all feel was a great summer roster building wise. They basically did one huge cost saving move, in order to get some flexibility to do one more move when they traded for Jonas Valanciunas. But you've been around a lot of Nuggets eras. Can you give us some perspective by grading different Nuggets periods and what the ownership groups did in those eras, and grade them on the curve based on who the superstar was in those eras?
I mean, if you're asking me to grade billionaires, the answer is they always get it deep because they have plenty of money. And I mean, my view of owning a sports franchise is that you've taken on a public trust that the money that you're spending really belongs to the fans. That's my feeling. But you can't argue with 2023, right? I mean, I remember distinctly, relatively early in Jokic's tenure, maybe 2016, 2017, something like that, listening to a podcast that Matt Moore, this is back when Adam was on Locked On Nuggets, and Matt Moore said, "Can the Nuggets ever win a title?" And Adam Mara's like that said no, and outlined all of the headwinds that were there for small market teams to win titles. So they brought us one. I mean, it's really Jokic that brought us one, and I don't know how much credit really the Cronkies can take for that.
Tough to grade a group project,
right? But I'll tell you, look, I have my closets full of sweatshirts from 2023, right? So I loved it, So this is definitely the best that the Nuggets have ever been. I mean, one thing about the NBA is in order to win a title, you have to have many years of maybe you could win a title. There's every team that has won a title has had many years where they could have, maybe with the exception of the 2019 Raptors, right? But other than that, every other team knocks around both before and after their title as contenders. And I hope they can win another one. But this is, as far as the historical perspective, it's not even close. I mean, Alex English was a spectacular player, but he's not Nikola Jokic. We've never had an MVP, a 2-time MVP, a 3-time MVP. It could have been 5-time MVP. I mean, It's like the guy leaves me speechless. So I'll stop there.
Okay, Jeff, do you have any additional comments on how the Kroenkes handled this era so far?
Yeah, I think I was mostly aligned with Kyle when he said a B minus. That's kind of what I had in my head as what I would wind up grading them. There's a couple faults in there. I think that we can place blame at their feet for things like letting KCP walk. Even though there are these benefits that come with saving money against the cap, I think that the moves that you had mentioned, Miro, like getting rid of Manimal, Wilson Chandler, Nurkic, and MPJ, we'll see. But for the most part, I think that they were the right moves to make. It's kind of funny. They wind up saving money while almost always kind of doing the team a service and making them a little bit better. I would like to see them try to link up with a company that starts planting some trees, and so that we can start getting some more top tier free agents. But to the point you made about whether or not they realized it soon enough, we signed Paul Millsap, which is one of the best free agents ever to come here, for $90 million, and they didn't turn down the team option on the third year. They kept it, which I was going into that summer thinking for sure he was gone. $30 million when I think that was maybe the first year that it put us into the tax. And so I think that showed that they knew what they had, and one championship, honestly, would probably wind up being enough for me over the course of this entire era. I'll happily take more, like 2, 3, 4. I would take as many as I can get.
Not
but
one,
for
not two,
yeah,
not three.
exactly. But for the time being, I mean, I'm very pleased with where things stand. Not to like just say that, oh, that's all the Kroenkes. I don't think that's the case, and I think they made mistakes. I think that they sat on their hands too long while things were going south in the last year and a half. But on the whole, I mean, it's hard to argue with the results that we've had.
Yeah,
well, that's what makes it so tough, right? What Jeff is saying is, so you could be for Booth Malone. You're critical of them because they mismanaged that personnel issue in a way that haunted an entire season plus, right? And so and probably out of cheapness and how they're trying to run the front office. So that's a fair criticism. But then you also have to give them credit for eventually solving the problem, right? And taking action to solve the problem when they did. So that's the thing that makes these sorts of evaluations so tough, is that there's a lot of factors, and the more factors, the tougher it is to evaluate. One other thing we should throw them under the bus for every chance we get is the abysmal practice facility. I can't tell you how long it feels like we've been talking about this. We got to get that.
Yeah, that too. And another thing, yes, they did pay Paul Millsap $90 million. At the same time, they had to sign Roy Hibbert late in the season just to get to the salary floor. This is how cheap the team was back then. But I digress. Okay, let's take a short break, and after that, we're gonna talk a bit about the coaching and front offices and teammates and Joker himself in this Jokic era. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we are back, and I really liked your point, Kyle, when you said it's really hard to grade a group project, and that's so true. One guy though was there for almost the entirety of those 10 seasons, and that's Coach Michael Malone, who was there for 9.5 seasons before getting fired 3 games before the end of the last regular season. Let's start with Dan this time. Dan, how would you care to separate different seasons from Coach Malone's resume? Some like developing seasons, some contending seasons, and maybe the downfall of his coaching tenure as well. And how would you grade all of those, individually?
I mean, it's hard to argue that he had worn out his welcome. It appears that that's the case,
and it's the case with every coach, by the way.
Yeah,
like after
right.
10 years,
every coach gets fired eventually. I think some of what happened to Malone is that his particular style and the culture that he wanted to institute didn't exact. It was more important for players that are 21 and 22 than players who are 27 and 28. I mean, there's just a big difference in the way people are from the time that they're come into the league and the time when they're 5 or 6 year veterans. And, you know, I don't mean to like totally criticize Malone because he had his own style, but he struck me as a yeller. And that just gets old after a while. So I don't know. I liked him. I mean, you know, he brought us a title. So, you know, you got graded pretty well for that. But I don't know. I think it was time. I mean, you know, the coach of this team really is Nikola Jokic. He's the one responsible for yelling at everybody now.
Yeah, I agree. And Jeff, when we think about possibly the greatest coach of all time, Greg Popovich, we've seen his career while having Tim Duncan on the team, and then a pretty substantial number of seasons without Tim Duncan, which were not nearly as successful as the previous ones. And you can say the same thing about Michael Malone and Nikola Jokic. Would you say it was a good job to yield one championship from 10 Joker seasons?
I think for Michael Malone, certainly. I mean, if Popovich was here instead of Michael Malone, maybe there are more championships to come. Because I don't view Michael Malone as necessarily an innovator. I mean, to Dan's point, he's a yeller, and I think that does wear. But I think it was so many teams, they go with these coaches for their young teams that are all about run and gun, offensive-minded coaches for young teams, because that's the things that the young teams are good at. They're good at offense and not defense. I think and this goes back to the Kroenkes, I think to their credit, they stuck with a guy in Michael Malone who's a hard ass and who wants to get the most out of his teams by way of defense and by way of discipline and execution, and less so innovation and scoring. And so I think what Michael Malone did was certainly enough. And I think I'd be hard pressed to think of another coach who necessarily could guarantee 2 championships. But where he lacked was the innovation, and perhaps that would have come into play a little bit more early on in Nikola Jokic's tenure when he was a little bit worse on defense. But maybe there could have been things that the Nuggets did to better the team. But all told, it's hard to argue with the results, and it's hard to argue with the decision to part ways. I think that it all can be true at one time, and I think Michael Malone, for the most part, did a great job, except for a little bit of lack of innovation, perhaps imagination.
Yes, I agree with that. And Kyle, this is where the things get intertwined a lot between the coaching and the front office work. You could say Greg Popovich won 5 championships with the San Antonio Spurs. Greg Popovich also had an incredible front office who was ahead of the curve and just scouting guys worldwide and getting guys like Tony Parker, like Ginobili, like Tiago Splitter, like
Diao,
like Bellinelli. They had all of those guys nobody else was even looking at, and they were just cashing in on other front offices not being as forward thinking and as these guys were. Do you think that we can give a high grade to the series of front offices, starting with Tim Connolly and ending, I guess, with Calvin Booth, for the level of talent they assembled around the superstar like Nikola Jokic?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't call it an A+, but I think for the most part, they have done a pretty good job, especially in a pretty difficult era and with some, again, exceedingly difficult circumstances of bringing in the pieces that, again, ultimately led to a championship. It's always hard to argue with that result. And I know that I think all of us see that there was a path that would have led to more that we could be talking about a second championship. We could be talking about a dynasty, but it feels like injury derailed that more than any particular front office decision or coaching execution or chemistry between the players or anything like that. It feels like it was always more of a circumstantial situation than anything else. So especially Tim Connolly, I really still, as much as I might sometimes not be so happy with him in his current role in Minnesota, and wish he hadn't left sometimes, and wonder what that could have meant for us. Because I don't think that the best things that Calvin Booth did would have been significantly different under Tim Connolly. But I still would give him a very high grade. Calvin Booth, it's hard to say. And I think still a little bit, the grade I would give is an incomplete. Part of it is to see what happens over the next couple of years with the roster that he largely put together. So how some of those players pan out yet to come is going to be a part of assessing him in the long run. But, ultimately, I'm not sure Calvin Booth gets a passing grade in my book. Part of it is not about the team building, but it's about the front office mismanagement that we got to a situation where your ownership has to step in at all is kind of a pretty damning critique of your front office. And ultimately managing that relationship between him and Michael Malone is his responsibility. That's what it means to be someone's manager, to be the superior in that relationship. So I always am going to assign more blame to Calvin Booth for the deterioration of that relationship, even if I also don't think Malone did himself any favors at the end there. But, like Jeff said, at some point it's just time to move on. Or like Dan said, every coach gets fired eventually. At some point, you just are at a place too long. And, it becomes best for all parties involved to have a breath of fresh air, to open a window and get that breath of fresh air in there and experience something new. So,
yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then who am I to say that the Nuggets fans shouldn't be happy with one championship in the last 10 years? It's their only championship in 50 years of history, or even more if you count the ABA days. But at the same time, if you would have a magic touch to undo or do something that wasn't done in this Jokic era, that would lead to more than one championship so far. I'm not saying they're not winning any more championships going forward, but in these first 10 years, and especially in these seasons 6 to 10, which were the apex joker so far, we have no idea. He might be even better in the next 5. We don't know that. But this was absolutely the apex so far. What move would you do to magically bring Nuggets fans more than one championship in these first 10 years?
That's tough. I mean, you go back and you think, when was Jokic ready to win his first title? That's a question, right? So, Jordan won his first one in his age 27 season. LeBron won his in his age 27 season. And Nikola Jokic won his in his age 27 season. So I do think they might have been ready the year after the bubble, the year that Jamal sat out, if Jamal hadn't gotten hurt. But, look at what the Rockets are facing with Fred VanVleet. I mean, your starting point guard, your max player point guard goes out. What do? I mean, there's just really nothing you can do. And the Nuggets lost 2 postseasons because of that. So to me, the season that got away was last season. And that's the one where I just shake my head. Like the idea that you're going to have this well-reported ongoing battle between coach and general manager about who's going to get the playing time. Like, I mean, do they not have each other? Do they not have Josh Kroenke's phone number? I mean, somebody's just got to call up and say, look, there has to be a decision made, and then we'll execute it. But the fact that they were arguing with each other and not embracing either vision, that's unforgivable for a front office, in my opinion. I mean, Booth should have just said, listen, either fire Malone or fire me. That's what I would have done if I were Calvin Booth. I would have said at the beginning of last season, I would have said, look, we just aren't on the same page, and you deserve better than that. So anyway, as far as moves, I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to say. They paid MPJ a ton of money. I probably would have not signed that contract with Michael Porter. That's, again, I get to look back now, right? I'm not saying that was a mistake at the time, but looking back, that contract, it was a bad contract, as we've seen. Even though I don't mean to denigrate Michael Porter's contributions, but that was a bad contract. And we'll see about Jamal's contract. I mean, again, I understand why they did it. I get what the decision making was, and I can't honestly say my decision making would have been any different than the Nuggets front office. But, we're going to have to see how it turns out. I mean, remember, his extension starts this year, right? This is when he's making all the money. And, if he doesn't produce this year, it's going to look like stinky cheese. So I don't know. I think that's the one thing that they might have not done that would have led to the flexibility that they needed last year. Because, I mean, Michael Porter, as much as he contributed, he had some anti-contribution too. I mean, everybody was down on Russ because of all the, foul-ups that Russ created. But I mean, that's Michael Porter too. I mean, how many defensive rotations did the guy miss? How many? Like every game, there were several of them.
Jeff, if you would have a magic wand, what would it be?
I was glad Daniel didn't take mine, because I was going to say something snarky if he did, like simply signing Dario. I think maybe cost us last year. No, I'm just joking. But the biggest thing,
I like that too.
Yeah, I did too.
That was miserable. No, it's easily the Leiden draft. I mean, the fact that we had Donovan Mitchell in our grasp. I mean, we talk about the season's lost to injury. You could let MPJ go. Like in this circumstance in which you have Donovan Mitchell as your third star at that point, or your second, or most likely your second at that point. It's been talked about over and over and over again, but I can't even get over the feelings that I had sitting through that draft. I mean, and it could be as simple as, I don't know, like tricking the Raptors into taking Leiden so we could take Anunoby. I think it is that straightforward that if we had that draft nailed with either of those two players, I think that there's a good chance that maybe not the years that Murray was hurt, but maybe the year after we had won, or last year, if we've got even one of those guys in the wings, and yeah, we could say goodbye to MPJ at that point and use that money elsewhere. Like it can't be said enough that was disastrous.
Kyle, do you have a angle on this?
Yeah, I want to fix Jamal Murray's knee. That would be my chance. We didn't have control over that. Again, I think some of this stuff is just stuff that, if it, I think Dan kind of said it that in retrospect, it's easier to say like, oh, I would have done this, or I would have, it's hard to know at the time. But I think the things that have been said are great. I agree about the MPJ contract. I think a lot of us felt that way at the time it was signed. And again, that's not to take away from his he's a champion. He helped bring a championship to Denver. Again, something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. So, that's great. I think the thing I would change, Jamal Murray's knee for sure. And, one other thing I was going to say is, as a grading, sometimes an essay looks better to me because I just graded a bad one. And, coming out of that Brian Shaw era into the era that we're in now, boy, it sure looks good. It makes this essay feel so much better after that era we came out of. So, part of it is that, what are you standing next to, right? The comparison makes it feel a whole lot better. And also seeing the way that some other NBA teams that looked prime for a championship have fallen apart. So as much as we might wish that we could have accomplished more, be grateful that you're not the Suns right now. There's definitely some worse situations that you could find yourself in.
Oh yeah. I just thought of Matt Ishbia, and I'm gonna give an A to the Cronkies in retrospect. Here's just one thing I'm wondering, and I don't have enough NBA insight to be sure if this is true or not, but I'm just amazed that no NBA superstar has tried to force his way into the Nuggets. Like no superstar said, "Okay, I'm not winning a championship on my own. I want to team up with this guy and be his real second option, and we can win several championships together." Because if you go back in the past, Boston Celtics from the 60s, they won 11 championships, but they had like six Hall of Famers, and then Will Chamberlain needed to get Oscar Robertson to get his only championship, and then Kareem needed Oscar Robertson to win his first championship with Milwaukee Bucks, and then teamed up with Magic Johnson to win 5 more. With the Lakers, Larry Bird had Kevin McHale, and Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen. So I'm just amazed that no superstar ever forced his way onto the Nuggets, so we don't have to pray, for Jamal to be his best at the end of the season. Maybe we can just have a real regular all-star running mate, and maybe that's the recipe for more championships. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's like 4 championships in next 5 years in the books for them, even with this formula. And by the way, I don't think the formula is changing now, because after they've traded away the 2032 pick, they will need to wait for another 2 years to get another premium pick at the draft night or after draft night. So yeah, this is the formula.
They'll end up trading the 2034.
They are, but they just need to wait for 2 more years for that, and unless somebody is forcing his way onto the Nuggets, and like Jamal Murray somehow gets traded in that kind of scenario, I don't see a second star coming on the Nuggets in the next couple of years. But as I said, it might be for the best. Okay, let's take our second break, and then we're gonna need to storm through the trivia games, because we've done a bit long, but it was a big subject. So I'm glad we got all the corners. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we are back, and let's now put in our faithful presentation, because the second semifinal clash is gonna happen now. We are gonna determine who will be the second finalist, who will be in the grand finale in 2 weeks when the Serbian Corners game show month ends. So per usual, we are going to start with a tiebreaker game, which is a game that doesn't count for anything, but it will give us a tiebreaker in case we need it at the end of the show. So hopefully you can get all pretty loose with it. As usual, I went to Basketball Reference and typed in a couple of letters into the search bar to see which former or current NBA or ABA players are going to auto-populate the list under those letters. And this time around, I typed in letters B-O. Per usual, we are going to go in alphabetical order by first name, which means Dan is getting the first pick. Kyle is getting... No, Jeff is getting the second pick, and Kyle is getting the third pick. You are all going to get 3 shots at this. So let me just make a small table here, because I forgot to do it before. So Dan, Jeff, Kyle, 3 picks each. Dan, which players do you think of when you see the letters B-O? It can be the start of their first or last name.
I'll take the greatest Bobby that ever played for the Nuggets. So it'll be Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones, I was expecting him to see him on the list, but he is not on the list.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Wow.
Bobby Jones is not on the list. Jeff.
I fear that I'm like forgetting somebody like obvious, but I will say Bruce Bowen.
Bruce Bowen is an excellent guess. I really liked his defensive prowess. Bruce Bowen is not on the list.
Wide open for Kyle.
Kyle.
I don't know. I'm also kind of blanking on, for some reason, I'm just having a hard time coming up with a name too. I definitely would have said Bobby Jones first too. I'm going to say Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy is one of the guys that won multiple championships for the Boston Celtics in the 50s and in the 60s, and he's number 4 on the list, which means you are getting 7 points for Bob Cousy, Kyle, and we are back with Dan. He played for 19 seasons in the 50s and the 60s. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's an actual career. That's not a sports career. That's like a real career. That's like give you a gold watch at the end of the career.
Right.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't know. Is Bobby Wilkerson on the list?
Bobby Wilkerson is not on the list. Jeff.
Indiana's mad.
It is a tough game, I have to admit. But I have a reason why I did it, and you will see it in the end.
Oh, I hate that. I'll say this is where I don't know if it's like Robert, Bob, but I'll say Bob McAdoo.
Bob
That's a
McAdoo,
good
all-star player, legend. He was a legend in Europe, by the way. When he finished his NBA career, he played for several years in Europe and was dominant in Italy as well. Bob McAdoo is number 3 on the list. That is 8 points for you, Jeff. Here, and you are now in the lead. Kyle.
Yeah, I don't know if people think that I'm like running through a Rolodex of NBA players in my mind, but I'm not. I'm just desperately trying to think of any NBA player who might fit this criteria. I was thinking about Wancho's character in Hustle is Bo. And I was like, can I say that? Yeah, Bo Cruz. No, I'm not going to say that though. How about Bonzi Wells?
Bonzi Wells. That's an interesting name. I haven't thought of him, to be honest, and he is not on the list.
Yeah, well.
Okay. There has to be a Bogdanovich on the list.
Which one?
I'm going to say Bogdan. I'm going to say Bogdan.
Bogdan Bogdanovic is not on the list.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I know. Jeff?
Oh, well, now
Last
I'm like,
chance?
well, I could easily just take the other one, but now I'm nervous that he's not on the list either because I probably would have put Bogdan ahead. I mean, I guess I will go. Thanks for bringing that up. I'll say Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bojan Bogdanovic is also not on the list. I'm such an evil. I don't want to say genius because I'm just evil here. Kyle, you have a chance. If you guess anybody on the list except for the last guy on the list, you will win the tiebreaker. If you get the last guy on the list, it will be a tie in the tiebreaker, which never happened before.
I just want to keep the theme alive now that we're going this way, and I want to say Boban. I want to say Boban Marjanovic.
Boban Marjanovic is also not on the list.
Oh,
this was a very tough
Why
list.
does this
Yes.
list even exist?
Manu
Why does
Bol,
this list
maybe?
even exist? They should
So
Bob
Bob
Pettit.
Pettit is
Bob Pettit.
Bob Pettit
Oh,
is the
yeah.
number one.
Probably the best player on this list, probably.
Only 10 seasons, and he accumulated all of those win shares. Bob Lanier, number 2. So 4 Bobs at the beginning of the list. Then Chris Bosh, multiple All-Star. Ron Boone, another name from the distant past. Carlos Boozer, interesting name, 12 seasons, ended in 2015. Bob Dandridge, also an old fella. Devin Booker at number 9. This is the reason I made this list. I wanted to show how Carlos Boozer has more win shares than Devin Booker.
That's
Just-
amazing. You know, the one I
That's-
feel bad.
These are ranked by win shares.
Yes. I believe this is the way. This is the way.
Devin Booker is wow.
The one I feel the worst about not getting is actually the last guy on this list, Bob Boozer, who did not have an extremely notable NBA career, but is an Omaha guy. I mean, he's from Omaha.
Okay.
I drive on Bob Boozer Road all the time. It's a shame, man. I'm kicking myself now.
Okay, Jeff won the tiebreaker. Let's now run straight into game number 1, which Jeff will start. Let me just it's okay. So here's the game number 1 for today. It's a bit different than in any of the shows this season. The game is guess the exact number of quarters, including overtime, a Nugget had a 100% field goal percentage and at least 2 field goals attempted in that quarter last season, regular season plus playoffs. So here's how we're going to do. We're going to do the closest to the pin. All 3 of you are going to give me a number for a certain player, and whoever is the closest wins a small point. Whoever wins the most small points will win the first big point of the show. And it's going to be the 12 guys with the most such quarters last season, but they're going to be in alphabetical order. So there will be no trends available, but I'm going to leave the table, the list on the screen, so you can have a bit of a reference when you're trying to guess somebody's number of quarters. So a guy entered the quarter, shot at least 2 shots, and hit all of them in a quarter, and we're counting how many each of these players had such quarters. And the first question, of course, will be the hardest one because you have no idea where to go with this. The first guy is Christian Brown. Jeff, what would be your guess for the number of quarters Christian Brown shot 100% from the field with at least 2 field goal attempts in the quarter?
I hate that. I do not want to be the first person to put a number out here.
That's what you get for having a good answer last time. I hope you've learned your lesson.
I have no idea where to even begin. Christian, quarters 33.
Okay, 1 second. 33 for you, Jeff. By the way, didn't mention this. The other players can pick the exact same number if you want. I'm going to allow ties in this, just because some of the guys will have a lower number, and I don't want to for whoever gets the first pick to have a tiebreaker there. So, Kyle, what will be your guess? Jeff
for
said
how many
33.
For how many quarters that Christian Brown shot?
Christian Brown.
Perfect.
Had.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess fewer than that. I'm going to guess 19.
19. Then.
So is this Price is Right? If it's higher and I guess any number over 34, I win?
Yes. Yes, you would win.
Okay. Then I'll say 34, but I think it's actually higher than that.
And your instinct is right, because it is actually 42. So Dan gets the.
It's always best to go last in this format.
Yeah, Dan gets the first small point. Kyle, you are now guessing.
You didn't ask me how many more. I would have said like 80.
Okay. 42 is the number Christian Brown had. Okay, so Kyle, Aaron Gordon.
I bet Aaron Gordon's number is fairly close to Christian Brown. So I'm going to guess 37.
37. Dan?
I'm going to say 50.
50. Jeff?
I think with the amount of threes that AG took, he's more liable to miss shots than go perfect in a quarter. So whatever Kyle's was, I think 36. 37.
I said 37. Yeah.
37.
I'll go 36 then.
36 is a great position for you, because in fact Aaron Gordon had 23 such quarters. So Jeff is getting the first small point.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
Dan.
true.
Dan, Nikola Jokic. You have the numbers.
I don't know exactly how many overtime games the Nuggets played last year, but let's just guess it was around 10. That's around 400 total quarters. I don't know how many did Jokic probably played in 75 games or so. So that's maybe 300 and I don't know. So I'm going to say he's got a pretty big number. I'm going to say his is 85.
85. Jeff?
Only reason why I'm going slightly lower than that is because of the amount he shot, right? Christian might just take two shots a quarter. So I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'll go ahead and say 66.
66. Kyle? 66, 85.
I'll go below 66, actually, for the same reason that Jeff said.
65 is your guess,
Yep.
which is a good guess because the actual number is 29.
Oh my
Only
God.
29 such
Those
quarters.
Christian
He just
Brown
puts up-
dunks really
He
add
just puts
up.
up a lot of shots. He puts up a lot of shots.
Yeah,
He
right.
does. He does. Actually, 29 is pretty damn amazing considering how many shots he had.
Yeah, at that
to
volume,
have
for sure.
last season. Okay, we are now back with Jeff, and next player is DeAndre Jordan.
Sneaky. I mean,
Sneaky, right? Because they're all dunks.
yeah, well, they're all dunks, but I mean, what?
How many
Two
games?
shots,
He probably only
8
played
times.
50 games.
Like, I'm gonna go for DeAndre Jordan. I'll go ahead and say 7.
7. Kyle?
That's exactly what I would have said. I'll say
You can also say 7 if you want.
Join me.
Well, how can we both? We'll only both be right if we're right on.
Yeah,
it.
if you're
That
both
doesn't-
right,
that doesn't
you are
feel
both.
right. I'm actually
getting
trying
the
to think
small
about
point.
what number do I guess that makes it hardest for Dan? I guess I'm going to say 5. I think.
5. Okay.
See if
Dan?
Dan goes over.
Well, I mean, he played maybe like 50 games, something like that.
It did short stints. These like little.
Right, I know.
It's
Many
rough.
times he didn't. Many times he'd come into the game and not get any shots off.
Yep.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that it's 5.
Also 5, like Kyle.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'll go. I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna go 5.
Okay, you can do that. You can do that.
I'm going.
And actually, the guy who's going to be the happiest for that is Jeff, because the right number is 13. Jeff gets the small point here, just like Kyle got the last one. Okay, next guy up, and we are back with Kyle. Jamal Murray.
I'm going to say Jamal Murray, another guy who just puts up a lot of volume. I'm going to say I'm going to say 24.
24. Dan?
I like that guess, so I'm going to say 25.
25. Jeff?
Sorry, Kyle. I think it's fewer. I'll say 23.
23. And that is a good guess because it is only 11 for Jamal Murray.
Wow.
So that's another one small point for Kyle. And we are now back to
For
Dan.
Jeff. That one was Jeff's.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah. Oh, I maybe I misspoke, but I did give it to Jeff. Dan, your guy, your next guy is Zeke Nagy. Only the elite, only top 12 guys in this category.
Leave the elite.
Nagy. So these are in order. So Zeke Nagy is.
So this is just
not in order. Okay,
alphabetical.
okay.
It is an alphabetical order, not the actual order. Yeah.
Zeke Nagy. Okay. So
And it's alphabetical by last
DeAndre
name.
Jordan had 13. I'm going to guess that Zeke Nagy. I'm going to guess 6.
6. Jeff?
That's a pretty good one. I'll say 4.
4. Kyle?
I'll say 7.
7 is the correct way of thinking it because the exact number is 9. Zeke Nagy had 9 such quarters. We are back with Jeff, and Jeff's pick will be a Jalen Pickett.
Oh, I feel like every time he came in, he'd go 1 of 2, like from 3. I don't really remember a whole lot of 2 for 2s. So honestly, Zeke's probably going to be a bit higher. For this one, I'll say 6.
6, Kyle?
I'll say 10.
10, Dan?
I'll say 5.
And the right answer is 5. Well done,
right
Dan.
on. Nice
This is
work.
the first bullseye
Something.
of the day, and this will actually give you 2 small points because it is a bullseye. Now we are now back with Kyle, and your player will be Michael Porter Jr.
Oh man, Mike could always get hot sometimes, but boy, you miss him when you wanted him to make him the most. I'm gonna say 16.
16. Dan?
Murray only had 11. Huh? Yeah, I'm going to say 15.
15.
So that leaves 17 for Jeremy.
Jeff?
I will say 17.
17?
Yep.
17 for MPJ. The correct answer is 22. So Jeff gets another small point. Now we are back with Kyle, right?
No, I picked first that time.
No, that's Dan now. Dan, your player will be Dario Saric.
Did he take 2 shots in any game?
You tell me.
I'm gonna say the number. I'm gonna say the number is 1.
1. Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, because I think you say top 12. I don't think that there's a 13, 14, 15 even on this list. I think this is probably it. So I'll go ahead and say 3.
3. Okay. Kyle?
All right, I'll say 5.
You say 5, and the correct answer is 3.
Nice.
So that's
Nice
2
work.
small points for Jeff here. And we are now back with Jeff's first pick, and the pick is Julian Strother.
I bet he's pretty close to Zeke. I'll say for Julian, 7.
7. Kyle?
I think that's a good answer. Yeah, I think it has to be fairly low. Again, just the shot profile is, one of the things that I think really informs this. I'm going to say, I'll go a little bit higher. I'll say 9.
9. Dan? Poker face.
I'll just say 8.
8 is your answer, and the correct number is 16, which means Kyle's gets another small point. We are now back with Kyle, and the player is Peyton Watson.
P-Watt dunked a lot, didn't play a lot, took some threes that were maybe not inside of his profile. I'll say, I think kind of single digits again. I'll go 10. How about 10?
10. Dan?
He dunked a lot. I'm gonna say 12.
12. And Jeff?
That's a tough one. For P-Watt, I'll go lower. I'll say 9.
9. And the correct answer is actually 20. So Dan gets a point here. Again, that's another small point. Last question of the game. Thank God. Then Russell Westbrook.
he didn't have too many like 8 for 8 nights. That's for sure.
Probably.
I love that way of saying it. That's exactly right.
Man. I'm gonna guess the number. I'm gonna guess in some ways the shot volume. I'm gonna give him the same number as Jamal, 11.
11. Okay, Jeff.
I'll give Russ a bit more than that. I'll say match with Peyton. I'll say 20.
20. Kyle.
Man, I definitely think it's in between there. I'm gonna say what did they say again? What are the two answers?
11 and 20.
11 and 20. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say 10.
10. Okay. And the correct answer is 22. So
wow.
that means Jeff wins another point. So Jeff has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 points. Kyle has 1, 2, 3, and then has 1, 2, 3, 4. So Jeff wins game number 1 after winning a tiebreaker as well. So that will put him in a real lead. Now let's take a short break, and after that we are going to try to storm through the last 2 games. Don't go anywhere.
So before every show, Miroslav, I just go to the Nuggets page on Basketball Reference and think, I don't know what he's going to ask, but I'll just look around on here. It's a fool's errand.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a wild card. I'll give you that. Like, I'm just gonna do something crazy every time around. Yeah.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear you say that, Dan, because that makes me feel better about the fact that I did absolutely no prep at all, because it looks like it pays about the same. So
it doesn't really help. But Jeff will start game number 2 now, and the question is very similar to the question from the first game, and it is Nuggets with the most games with 100 plus true shooting percentage and 3+ field goal attempted in a game in the Jokic era regular season plus playoffs. So this time around, I'm not asking you to guess the exact number. I'm just asking you which guys do you think had the most such games. Jeff will get number 1 poll, Dan will get number 2, and Kyle will be number 3. It's going to be a snake draft because there are 11 guys on this list, but there's no way you're going to guess all of them. So this is why I'm giving everybody 4 shots at it. Jeff starts the snake. Which player do you think in Jokic era had the most games with 100 plus true shooting percentage and at least 3 field goal attempts? So maybe somebody missed some threes, but he hit them at a high enough rate to keep the 100 plus true shooting percentage alive there. So this is how it's slightly different to game number 1.
Yeah.
And it's the entirety of Jokic era.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and guess. I guess I'll guess Jokic. I feel like the safest, but I doubt he's number 1.
Jokic is number 4 on the list. That will be 8 points for you here, Jeff. Nikola Jokic had 9 such games in his, I want to say, 900 games for the Nuggets. It's not as common of a thing as we might think.
He had how many? How many did you say he had?
He had 9 such games.
9 perfect games. Okay.
Yeah. So Dan, what will be your guess? Who is high on this list?
I'm going to go with the Manimal.
Manimal is an interesting try. I want to be completely sure I'm not messing this up. He is not on the list, though. He only played for 1 full season next to
Only
Joker.
one? Really?
Yeah, he was there for 2 seasons, but he was basically benched in that second season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, my thinking was somebody who dunks.
Or was it? No, it was actually 2 seasons. He played in 2 seasons, and in third season he was benched for Paul Millsap. Kyle, you now get 2 picks.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking like Dan, so I'm thinking players with a high volume of makeable shots. I'm going to ask about Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon is on the list. He is number 11, so that is 1 point for you. He had, 2 points for you because he is tied for 10, actually, with 6 games. There's another guy with 6 such games. As you can see, between number 4 and number 11, there's only 3 game gap. So this is going to be a condensed list. Your second pick, Kyle.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess Mason Plumlee.
Mason Plumlee is on the list. He is number 7 on the list, which means you're getting 5 points here for Mason Plumlee. By the way, he had 7 such games. There are 2 more guys with 7 such games who will also yield 5 points for somebody. Dan.
I'm going to say Jamal.
Jamal Murray, I have to say, unsurprisingly, is not on the list.
Missed too many shots.
Yeah, he
Just
is not.
volume, just too high volume.
Yeah, he too high of a volume, and also.
But he's just played. I mean, I went
I know.
Difficult shot profile.
games, but anyway.
Yep. Other than Jokic, the most games in the era for sure.
It's true. It is true. Jeff, two guesses for you now.
All right, I'm going to split these guesses. The first one I'm going to go in line with what y'all were saying earlier, which is a center. I'll say DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan is on the list. He is also tied for 7, so that's 5 points for you. And you have another guess. Also 7 games, just like Mason Plumlee. Only 2 fewer than Nikola Jokic.
For the other guess, I will go a point guard, and I will say Monte Morris.
Monte Morris is a great guess. He's number 5 on the list. He's tied for number 5. Actually, that will be 7 points for you. There's another guy who also had 8 such games, just like Monte Morris. Then,
Christian Brown.
Christian Brown is a great guess because he is up there when it comes to efficiency. He is also tied for number 5, which means you're also getting 7 points here. And Kyle now gets his final 2 guesses. He has 7 points. Jeff has 20, and Dan has 7 as well.
I'm going to guess. I'm just trying to think about players who were here for a long time and might have had a good streak. I'm going to guess Gary Harris.
Gary Harris is on the list. He is on the list. He is tied with Aaron Gordon for number 10, which means 2 more points for you. 6 such games. Another guess for you, Kyle.
How about KCP?
KCP, great guess. Number 2, 10 points for you. 11 such games for KCP. Unfortunately, you are up to 19 points, which means you cannot catch Jeff, who is at 20. Dan, your last.
I can't catch him either. Well, if I get number 1, I still don't catch him. That's 12. That'll put me at 19.
It's true. It's 11, actually. Yeah, it would be 11. Yeah, and it wouldn't be sufficient, but let's try it out.
I'm going to say Paul Millsap.
Paul Millsap is not on the list.
Wow.
Jeff.
I thought that was a good guess.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Jeff, last chance. He shot a lot of 3-pointers, though, for the Nuggets. Paul Millsap did.
For my last guess, as I already wrapped this up, I'm going to go with a Serbian corner game show favorite. I will say Trey Lyles.
That's so true. That's lore. That's Serbian corner lore.
He's been up there for sure. Trey Lyles, he did. Unfortunately, the reason why we hated him, he never made an open 3. So he is not on the list. And here is who is the champion of this game. It's JaMychal Green.
Oh my God! I never would have thought of that.
I feel like he did go 4 for 4 every single game. Yeah, that's a good
17,
point.
Yes. The other guys we've missed are Vlatko Čančar with 7, and you guessed everybody else on the list. So good job, guys.
Well,
Jokic's favorite player. I can't believe we should have known it. The Jokic era, it's his favorite player to
Reason.
play with.
This is why he was his favorite. Absolutely.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
So Jeff now has 2 big points, but that doesn't mean the show is over, because the last game, just like last week, can give you up to 3 points, 3 big points, because we have 3 combinations in the game I call "Can I have your full name, sir/madam?" So if somebody gets all 3 combinations, he could rival Jeff for the finals appearance in 2 weeks. But if Jeff gets at least one of these combinations, he's gonna wrap it up. So the first combination again will go for Jeff. You're all veterans. You know this is a name mashup game where I create a long name by combining 2 people's names in the middle. It might sound confusing, so here's an example. If I tell you the first person is a former Nugget drafted in 2014 and the second person is the most handsome DNVR Nugget outside of this show, your answer would be Gary Harrison Wind. All 3 combinations will have a team built in, but you will probably need to wait for the first 2 to try and figure out what it is. So maybe going third in this game isn't a bad thing. Jeff, here is your first 2 clues. The first person is not a person, it is a basketball team. The second person was born in 1970 in Austin, Texas.
I'll go ahead and we'll speak through this. I'll pass.
Okay, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm going to pass.
Pass.
Okay. Dan passed too. Okay, that was the quickest pass of all time. Jeff, here's the second pair of clues. The first person is not a person. It is a basketball team from Europe. The second person is an actor who played in movies Glass Onion, Predestination, and Fast Food Nation.
I don't know. I'll pass again.
Okay, Kyle.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to pass, too. I'm going to pass it to Dan. I think Dan's going to get it, though.
Pass.
Dan is passing. Jeff, your chance to wrap up the show. The first person is not a person. It is the last basketball team Nikola Jokic played for before the Nuggets. The second person is best known for his roles in Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Boyhood, according to me.
I mean, this is bad because I'm trying to think of the Nikola Jokic team. Oh my gosh. Give me one quick sec to see. I don't want to hold us up. I can't think of the team name.
Kyle?
No, I'm stuck too. I know the actor for sure, but I also cannot think of it. I'm just drawing a blank, so I'm not going to get it. I'm going to pass it to Dan.
Dan?
I mean, wasn't it Mega Basket? Wasn't that the name of that? Those
Uh-huh.
pink uniforms? It was
Now
Mega
you got
Basket, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I couldn't remember.
Right, but I mean, usually I'm pretty good with the movie actors, and I just Basket.
Yeah, the
Mega
actor I
Basket.
knew right away, but I could not think of the team
Cat.
to save my life.
It's gonna be Cat somebody, Bass Cat. Cat. Nope. Cat.
You want me to
Bass
say
Cat
it?
Williams.
You want me to say it now that I've heard that part?
Bass Cat Williams. That's my guess.
I love
Kyle,
that. I love
Kyle,
thinking
give
about
us the
I
late
love thinking
combination.
about Cat Williams in Before Sunrise would be amazing. It's Mega Basket, Ethan Hawke. I don't know how to.
Mega Blast Keaton Hawk is correct answer. Nobody's getting a small point or the big point for this combination, though. So we are now back to Kyle with his combination. The first person is not a person, it is a basketball team. The second person is not a person, it is a United States agency whose headquarters are in Virginia.
I feel like he's making these more ridiculous every time. All right, I'm going to pass.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm passing.
Okay, Jeff?
This has to be like a city in Italy or something. So I'll say Valencia.
Okay, I like the way you.
Me too.
But that is not the right answer.
But it's a good answer.
It was a really good answer. Kyle. The first person is not a person, it is a basketball team in North America. The second person is not a person, it is an agency of the United States Department of Homeland Security.
I'm gonna pass again. I'm still stuck.
Okay, Dan?
North American basketball team. Yeah, I'm passing too.
Okay, Jeff, any idea?
Just for the hell of it, I'll give another answer, but this one is for a department in Britain. I'll say Miami, MI6.
Oh man, I love your guesses are killing. That's great. That's so smart.
It's true, but it's not Miami. It's Miami Heat. So this is the way it would go. Okay,
Still
Kyle.
a good guess.
It's a good guess. I agree. Okay, Kyle. Here's the last couple of clues. The first person is not a person. It is a basketball team that has won the 2023 NBA championship. The second person is not a person. It is an agency of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security that has authority over the security of transportation systems within and connecting to the United States.
The Denver Nuggets TSA?
That is correct. That is correct, Kyle. First point for you today. Denver
Again, your mind,
TSA.
Miroslav, it's beautiful. Your mind is beautiful.
Hilarious.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. And now we are up to
That's
the last.
a great picture, by the way.
Yeah, I really liked it. I
That's-
really liked it.
Yeah, that was a great. That was a
Great
great
job,
era.
Kyle.
Beautiful uniforms. Beautiful.
First
uniforms.
big point for you, and the last combination goes to Dan. Dan.
pass.
Oh, wait. The first person is not a person, it is a basketball team. The second person is not a person, it is a stage play.
Still pass.
Okay. Jeff?
West Hamilton.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is great. West Ham doesn't have a basketball team yet, but who knows?
Yeah.
With that
With
crazy
Adam Silver,
Adam
yeah,
Silver, it's very possible. It's very possible. I'm guessing he's just gonna make a NBA division with 6 teams from England because England is the strongest European basketball nation, so this is why he's gonna do it. Okay, great guess, Kyle.
I don't have anything that creative. I'm going to pass too.
Okay, Dan. The first person is not the person. It is a basketball team competing in the NCAA. The second person is not the person. It is a 1981 musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass. I'm gonna have to pass.
Jeff?
In honor of Jamal Murray, I'll say Kentucky Wildcats.
That is correct. Kentucky Wildcats is the right answer.
It was Jeff's day, man.
Yeah, Jeff took us
That's-
to the cleaners today. Jeff was on his A
I
game.
mean,
There we
give
go.
the man his flowers. He was
He had
on
one
it
of
all
those.
day.
He had one of those perfect quarters, true
Yeah,
shooting,
one of-
100%.
By the
Right.
way, you are getting only one more big point for this, but just know that in 2 weeks when we do the grand finale, every time you get the answer early, you will get more points. If you get it on the first try, you will get 3 big points, 2 big points for the second try, and 1 point for the third. Combination of
Nice.
clues. Have that in mind because this is something that's going to happen in 2 weeks. Jeff, great job. You are our second finalist. And before we go, you have the chance to plug whatever you want and send it to the ether.
I don't have anything to plug. Well, I said hello to my family last week or last time I was on. I'll say hello again.
Okay, you could have said I'm not doing it again.
I refuse to do it again.
I thought this is what you were going to do. Kyle, anything to promote outside of PTA movies?
No, yeah, go to the movies. It's good. It's good for the movies. It's good for you. It's good for your soul. It's good for everybody. Go to the movies. Go see something good. That's what I'm going to go do. Take my wife out. Have a great time. So this was great. Congrats, Jeff.
Thank you.
Dan?
Well, I'll echo. Well done, Jeff. That was awesome. Number one. Number two, I want to promote Serbian Corner. Now, it's a little late because everybody who's hung around this long probably doesn't need to. But I will say that this takes a lot of work for Miro to put all this stuff together. And, sign up for a little Patreon account. Every little bit helps Miro come to Denver in April.
Thank you so much. And yes, of course, that is the plan, just like every year. And that is all I've prepared for you today, my dear listener. And please, with cherry on top, take word prepared very loosely. Be well, be safe, be kind to everybody. Call your mom. And until next week, I don't know where he's going to play next year, but I'm just going to give him some love. Monty Morris.